Hi folks, welcome to Yale Appliance. I'm Chef Saba and today we're doing a cooking demonstration featuring induction versus gas. So the first thing I'm going to do is get our water boiling and get everything ready so we can start cooking. So we'll start here on our gas cooktop. We'll just turn the power on. Oops. Oh no. Just a moment. Shoot. My gas not turning on.
Why don't you start with the electric?
Okay, sorry about that. There wasn't normally a switch for this one. Okay, just a moment. We'll start with this one. And I'll use the power boost to get the water going as well. In the meantime, there's no switch, so I'm just wondering what. Probably should have checked that. Hi, folks. So we apologize for the technical difficulty, but we're back up and running. I'm Chef Saba, and we're here at Yale Appliance in Framingham, Massachusetts. We're doing a demonstration on induction versus gas. So I'll be making identical items of food on both to demonstrate the speed, the versatility, and just the differences between the two. So the first thing we have to do is actually get our water going for the pasta. So we have our water on the back middle burner. We'll turn that to high, and we'll do the same over here. And in fact, I'm going to use the boost mode to give it an extra surge of energy, which will help the water boil even faster. So that's a great benefit with the induction from the start. Definitely an advantage on this side, but we are using one of the higher powered BTU burners to bring the water to a boil on our gas cooktop. In the meantime, I'm going to get my pan for our sauteed vegetables going as well. So I'll just put a little olive oil in there. And then just remember, when you are using induction, you never want to preheat your pan without any oil or fat in there or some kind of liquid. Because it preheats so quickly, you just want to make sure nothing scorches or burns on the bottom. And now we can go ahead and start sauteing. This is set to a medium-high temperature. And I'm just going to start by sauteing some garlic scapes in there, as well as in the gas. And if we can get a close-up, you'll notice that the water is already starting to bubble on the induction cooktop. So it does actually boil a lot faster. I'm going to check on the gas cooktop in the back, and we do not have as much bubbling as we see, or as much action as we see here. So there's definitely significantly faster results with our induction, as we can see right now. And we are starting to get a little simmer and a little action with the garlic scapes as well. So we'll let those start to soften in the olive oil. All right, so we'll let those soften and cook down. And we'll make sure that both are set to a medium-high temp at this point. Great. Again, a lot faster in terms of how the oil is reacting with the pan and how quickly the garlic scapes are cooking down in our induction cooktop. All right, so we do have a lot of things going on here, but again, significantly faster on our induction side. Now keep in mind, we are using a gas cooktop, which has a lower BTU output than a range top or a range. So that is something to keep in mind. But this is just speaking in general in terms of induction power, speed, and versatility. So yeah, definitely a lot easier to control as well. So what I've done is I've put some canola oil in our skillets here, and I'm going to use those to sear the steak. Let's get those pans preheated as well. And I'm actually going to turn the heat for the garlic scapes down to about a medium now. And it looks like our water is almost at a boil on induction, and it's still not bubbling at all on the gas cooktop. So definitely a difference in speed straight away. We have a roaring boil here on the induction, and we don't have much action at all on the gas yet. So that is definitely a significant difference straight away. I don't know if you can see in the back there, but there isn't much action happening at all. So we're just going to season our pasta water, and we'll get the pasta straight in. And another advantage of having induction is that I have an option to set a timer. So I'll set my timer for 11 minutes, and we'll wait for our pasta to boil as well. All right, so let's start searing. I have both burners are on in this the skillet with the canola oil. Our garlic scapes are also starting to soften. They look fantastic. And I'm going to actually bring the temperature all the way down here to a medium low to make sure that those do not brown or overcook. We just want them to be slightly softened. And let's see how quickly we can sear our steak. So I've seasoned one side of both steaks with some salt and fresh ground pepper. I'm going to place it straight in the pan, season side down, and immediate reaction into the induction pan. And a slight sizzle on our gas. So as you can see, we preheated both of those pans at the same time, but we have a much quicker reaction in the induction pan. Our pasta water is boiling beautifully. Still no boiling on the gas cooktop. So this is a great example of how quickly you can get food cooking on the induction side. What I'm going to do now is both our steak are set at high temperatures on both grill pan, on both skillets on the cooktops. Just going to go ahead and season the other side. Generous amount of salt and some fresh ground pepper. All right, and let's take a peek and see how we're doing. So we got some great color, some great caramelization already on the induction side. And let's take a peek at the gas. Not much color at all. It's still kind of gray, so it definitely needs more time on that side. So there is no question that we are cooking much faster on this side of the kitchen, if there was ever any doubt. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my summer squash in with the garlic scapes in both pans. The moderate temperature seems to be going at an equal rate. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and flip this steak over. And look at that crust and caramelization on the steak in the induction pan. And we'll take a look here again. And definitely a huge difference, if you can see that side by side. Very little color, not even as of now. So we're going to flip it and continue to cook the other side. And this is the highest BTU burner on our cooktop that you see here. All right, folks, and if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments section. We'd be happy to answer your questions here live. And please also, if you have a chance and you're interested, download our cooking buying guide. We have Induction Pro Cooking Buying Guide, as well as our gas cooktop buying guide. So there is a lot of information there for you to explore and see and check out on all of the various appliances, ranges, cooktops, inductions that we carry. All right. So we are definitely moving along here. Still waiting on the gas side, but this has been a great test for us as well to see it kind of live side by side to see how quickly we can get this meal done on the induction cooktop versus our gas. So again, let's flip over the meat. Look at that beautiful crust and sear. And I'm going to now bring, all right, so now we have a similar crust on both steaks, but I have it on both sides of this steak, and I've just flipped this one over for the first time. So we're definitely a little behind on the gas side. Adding a little fresh ground pepper to our summer squash. All right, it looks like we have a question coming in.
How does the timing change from conventional electric to induction?
That's a great question. The question was, how does timing change from conventional electric to induction? I would say that conventional electric is going to be slower and much less precise. So you don't have the ability to control the temp as well. Whereas with the induction, you can go from a high to a low very quickly. So everything reacts quicker. With electric, you will not have that same reaction. So you have to adjust your cooking style slightly. But you're definitely going to see much quicker results on your induction cooktop. All right, folks, keep those questions coming in. We do love to answer your questions here live. All right, so now let's take a look here. We have great color on our steak on both sides. Let's see if we can sear the sides as well. All right, we have another question coming in.
What brand is the gas cooktop and how many BTUs?
So I don't know off the top of my head the BTUs, but it is Wolf. So typically with the range tops, it goes from 20 to 18. 1,000 BTUs. So we can double check that information and we can send it over to you. All of the cooktops have a different BTU arrangement, and I just don't know them all by heart, but we can definitely get that configuration over to you. All right, we have another question.
Does having all the induction burners on at once affect the power?
Only in boost mode. And I would say that that is actually a great question, because sometimes, yes, the question was, does having all of the burners on in the induction cooktop affect the power? And I would say that if you're trying to use boost mode, then you'll definitely see a difference depending on the brand, of course. It does take and borrow power from the other burners. But I also advise any customers that do like to do a lot of high volume, high temperature cooking at home, that perhaps then gas might be a better option, because it is, at the end of the day, an electrical unit. You might have, it could potentially overpower or overuse the electricity and shut down as a safety mechanism. So that just is a safety thing. And I haven't seen it happen often, but I have seen it happen depending on the brand and how much power is being used. So something like this, not such a big deal, but if you had all 5 burners going at the same time on a high temperature, you might see a difference. All right, so we have the induction versus the gas there. I'm gonna just turn the heat off on this, and yeah, just a moment. All right, so, and it looks like we have a little bit of a boil here on our pasta water on the induction cooktop. So we will get on the gas cooktop, sorry. So we'll get that going in just a minute. All right. And any other questions? Where would you like a close up of this somewhere?
Yeah.
Where would you like that?
Can you just hold it up so you can around here?
Yeah. Here we go. So this is induction versus gas, and I'll slice it up in a minute as well. Okay, so let's add a little pasta water here. And I will add the rest of my pasta to our pan in the back. And I'll set my timer here for that.
You can cut them right out. They kind of go there.
All right, perfect. All right, so my timer just went off for the pasta that we have cooking here. So I'll turn that power off and transfer the pasta straight into the pan here with our garlic scapes and summer squash. Meanwhile, I am waiting for my pan sauce to reduce here and waiting for our pan sauce to reduce on the gas cooktop itself as well. All right, and folks, please let us know if you have any other questions. Another point I'd like to make about the induction is that the cleanup is going to be significantly easier when we're done cooking. This is one flat surface which I'll be able to quickly wipe down, and I will not have to clean between the grates and the actual cooking surface. So one quick wipe down will do the job. And with our gas, we'll have to obviously clean the grates, the burner caps, as well as the cooking surface itself. So here, that's one thing that I really do appreciate about the induction. Well, also the speed and the precision is the ability to quickly clean as well. I'm gonna go ahead and add some mushrooms to this pan sauce here. And we'll add them back here as well. All right, great. All right, so I think we're moving right along here. We have our induction, as I mentioned, is definitely producing food much faster. And we'll slice into the steak in just a couple of minutes. All right, do we have another question?
Nope.
All right, that's great. I'm just gonna mix this up. And now what I can also do is use the lowest temperature setting to keep our food warm. We can just use it as a hot plate, which is fantastic. All right, I'm just gonna add a little bit of this pasta water here. All right, wonderful. So far so good. And folks, definitely keep those questions coming. If you'd like me to answer anything live, I'd be happy to do so. And I'm just going to add some fresh herbs here to our goat cheese, summer squash, garlic scape pasta while we wait for the rest of the dish to come together. All right, looks like we have another question.
What brand are we using for that?
We are using Wolf today. All right, Perfect. So that should be all set. And then we're just waiting for the pasta on the other side. And I will start our slicing our steaks up so you can see what those look like as well. Okay. Let's slice up these steaks. Let me grab some gloves and we'll slice those up for you guys. Okay. Thank you. Let's turn that up slightly. So the first steak I'm going to slice up is the steak from the induction pan. This will be about a medium rare temperature. If you wanted to get the internal temperature up, you could just place it in the oven at 350 degrees for approximately 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how well done you'd like it, of course. All right, here we go. This is our induction seared steak. And I'll slice up our steak cooked on the gas, which finished just a couple minutes after the induction. We got a great crust on both. And because the steak sits in that pan a little bit longer, the residual heat does impact it in the long run. So here we have, well, they look pretty even to me today, but this is induction versus gas. There we go. All right, so here I have my mushrooms are sautéing away. Same on this side. I'm going to serve these with our steak, so let's give that another couple minutes. And feel free to send in those questions if you have anything else you'd like to ask us about induction or gas. All right, it looks like we have another question coming in.
What are the main things to look for when figuring out if an induction cooktop is better than another kind of induction?
I would say the main factors to consider when comparing induction cooktops that are right for you are interface. How easy are the controls for you to operate? The layout as well is important to a lot of people. Where the actual designated areas are for the pans. Sometimes you don't even have designated areas with like Thermador and Gaggenau. You have the freedom to place your pan wherever you like. So a lot of people do prefer that. Wolf has designated areas. They've just changed the configuration. So now instead of having circular areas, you have square, so you get more surface area to cook with. So I would say interface and layout are two big factors for sure. All right, looks like we have another question.
Do you have any experience with GE induction cooktops? And if so, could you compare them?
We just had a question about GE cooktops, and I do apologize. We don't actually have any GE ones live here in our showroom, so I haven't used any GE ones yet. So I hope to in the future, but I can't speak to them because I haven't had the chance to work on one. So I apologize for that. But that's a very good question.
So are all induction cooktops the same, or is it what are the main differences in like different?
the question was, are all induction cooktops the same, or is there a difference between the different brands? And the technology is definitely the same. I would say that main differences are the layout, the design, the interface, where you can place your pans. There's slight differences, and obviously amperage as well. Some require 50 amps, some require 30. So that depends on your kitchen and what sort of electrical output you have. And I would say also, it's just how it functions, what makes you comfortable. Some people like having the ability to program the cooktop in one area where you can slide your temperature from high to low very quickly. Some prefer the screen model where you place your pan somewhere on the cooktop and you program everything through that little screen. So it really comes down to your personal preference and what the design and the interface is. So those are the main differences. All right, question.
Do induction zones adjust depending on the size of the pan, or do they dictate the size of the pan you should use, kind of like on gas?
So a very good question. The question was, do induction zones dictate the size of the pan? So there are certain induction cooktops that do have larger designated areas, or like power burner areas, that you would use for the larger size pans, and then you have the smaller designated areas. So the power is the same. It's just the surface area that's covered is different. So if you have a larger designated area, a larger pan will fit into that. That means there's more electromagnetic technology or more electromagnets that are going through that area. So you'll get more energy going through that particular area. So it's not like this one is 18,000 BTU versus 20,000 BTU. Power is the same, but the size of the pan will conduct a different amount of the electromagnetic heat. Great questions coming through.
Can you expand more on Thermador Freedom?
So the question was, can we explain more about Thermador Freedom? Absolutely. So Thermador Freedom basically gives you a blank canvas, so to speak, and you have the freedom to kind of place your pan wherever you like, unlike with Wolf, where you might have a designated circular, or now in their newer models, you have a square area where you can place your pan. With the Freedom, you can place your pan wherever you like. And the interface or screen will detect where that pan is, and then you use the screen to program the temperature that you like. So it is extremely, it's just a cool appliance, and also probably the most sleek and modern in terms of approach. And it's very easy to use. But I think in terms of understanding how the interface works, the Wolf and some of the more basic interfaces are probably the quickest to respond. So I would say that's kind of the major difference there, is how quickly you can learn how to use it and how quickly you can program. All right, so it looks like our pasta here is done. I'm going to go ahead and transfer that to our pan. So that was a significant difference in how much longer the pasta took to cook on the gas cooktop here. And I'll give you a final, the final dish on both sides as well, so you can see the difference. The pasta dishes should look pretty similar. So at the end of the day, everything is going to cook very similar, but it's the speed and the efficiency, and of course the cleanup, that's going to make the big difference. Those are the real deciding factors there. Okay, and I'm just going to add the finishing touches to my pasta there. And if there's any other questions, please let us know. We have a couple more minutes before we wrap up here today, so let us know what else we can help you with. Okay. All right, Brad, I'm going to just put the sauce on the pan here. On the plate. And then, actually didn't really add much seasoning to this. There we go. All right, so we have a little mushroom pan cream sauce to go with our seared steak. And this I can turn off, off, and off. Great. And we have our mushroom pan cream sauce from the gas cooktop as well. There we go. And I'm just going to finish up the pasta. So this was our summer squash, garlic scape, and goat cheese pasta. And I'll put some fresh grated Parmesan on top as well. So this is from our induction side, and we'll do another one from the gas cooktop side. So once the dishes are cooked, it's hard to tell the difference between the two. They're both gonna look great and taste great. It just comes down to how you enjoy cooking, what aspects are important to you while you're cooking, and for the cleanup, of course, as well. And the speed, to be honest, I'm still working away back here where the induction meal is already complete. So I would say that is one of the most significant differences. And then the cleanup on the induction is going to be so much faster as well. So just a couple of those things to think about when deciding between the two. All right, looks like we have another question coming in.
Is there a limit to the number of pans you can put on a thermidor food?
Yes, the question was, is there a limit to the number of pans so on the Thermidor Freedom? And that's a great question. Basically, that Thermidor Freedom, they say, is broken up into zones. So if you use the right side and the left side and the middle zone, you can use 2 on the right side, 2 on the left side, and then 1 in the middle. And if you share a zone, then you're sort of borrowing. If you have an awkward shaped pan, so if you're sharing something in the middle zone and on the left or right hand side, then you're kind of sharing 2 cooking areas. So even though there's not designated areas, there's only so many pans that those areas can support. But it's ideal for pans that are awkwardly shaped. They might not be round necessarily. If you have a griddle pan or a grill pan or a square shaped pan, as you would place that on a gas cooktop or a different induction cooktop where you would sort of have to bridge the area, you are going to be sharing 2 cooking zones. So with the Thermidor, I believe they might have changed it to 2 cooking zones now. So I'll just have to double check with that because I know it used to be 3 cooking zones. So we'll just have to double check. So it just, it depends on how many zones there are on that particular range or on that particular cooktop. I hope that answers the question. All right, so let's also just clear off this area so I can show you how quickly this will clean. All right, so, and this is almost done. I just want to make sure that this pasta is ready to go. We're just going to thicken the sauce up a little bit and then a squeeze of lemon, and we will be good to go. Great. All right, and folks, any other questions? We're still here. We have a couple more minutes before we finish, so feel free to send those questions through. I'm just going to add a little bit of parm on top here. All right, and I think this is ready to go. Perfect. All right, so we'll just finish plating over here so you can see what's going on. So exactly identical meals, significantly faster on our induction cooktop, but they're still gonna both taste great. What am I doing? And obviously the cleanup is going to be much faster on induction. Last little sprinkle of parm. All right, so here we go. We have identical meals, and now I want you to see the difference between the cleanup. On our induction, all I need to do is wipe the single surface down. On the gas, I'm going to have to lift each grate, clean underneath, clean the burner caps on all the cooking areas, and then clean the grates and then put them back. So huge difference, much quicker cleanup on the induction side. So I think those are the main differences. And you saw how quickly we were able to cook with the induction and how quick the pan reacted when we were searing that steak, and how beautifully you can actually go from high to low and low to high in a matter of seconds. So it's much more precise and efficient. I mean, I love cooking with gas too, but I think induction is a clear winner when you look at all the pros. So folks, thank you so much for joining us. We will definitely have another live stream very soon. And please send in those questions. We love to answer them. Even if you don't get a chance to send them in live, we can answer them after the fact. So thank you for joining us. And we'll be in touch with our next live demonstration. Thanks so much.